we'll move on to question number 3. Mr. Miller, you go first on this one. Beyond partnering with other local economic development entities, what is the City of Warsaw's role in attracting and maintaining business and industry?
Well, Gary, maybe I shouldn't call you Gary. Maybe it's going to be more like the Jerry Springer Show from here on out. As mayor, you can't be prejudiced with new or existing business in Warsaw or the surrounding areas. Warsaw must be inviting. We cannot have an attitude that welcomes you here only if we want you, only if it's a convenience that we don't have, only if we can't compete with those already here, and only if you golf or play poker with a potential developer. And let's hope that doesn't happen. My opinion of our past trials and tribulations that's involved where Myers, Martins, Menards have built, and the tribulations they went through have not been positive. We didn't listen. We must listen. At an aviation board meeting, the Vice President of Martin spoke out. And they spoke out, to me what they said was spoken volumes. He was asked, and I asked him personally, I said, why do you choose Warsaw? And Warsaw was chosen, they'd made up their mind to come here. And that spoke volumes to me. We're a great community. We should welcome them. And I believe now we are welcoming them. I went on to ask him, you chose Warsaw. And he was there on the concern of the potential closure of County Road 100 and due to the lack of planning. And I said, would you still come to Warsaw knowing that road would be closed or could be closed? And his response was, and I believe I quote properly, we made the decision to come to Warsaw. It's a growing community. But we probably wouldn't have chose this location had we known what it's going through and the planning that was involved. To me, that speaks volumes. During my campaign, one of our local greenhouses told me with their disgust in the city, and their reasoning was purchasing plants from South Bend that could have been purchased locally. The city's savings on purchasing those plants from South Bend, I don't have a clue. The greenhouse's tax bill last year, $20,000. What did we learn from that?
10 seconds.
In talking to other small businesses like Smith Appliance, Betty's Cake Shop, Smith Tire, we shouldn't be scared of big box stores. Nobody has the service of the mom and pop organizations. Thank you.
Mr. Palmer?
Well, as the question insinuates, partnering with the different local economic development entities is a very critical function of city government. Those collaborative functions such as recruitment, marketing, and coordination of incentives are best served with a unified effort and pooling of resources. But the city has a role to establish a foundation that can be developed. Not only a physical foundation of quality building sites, but a community with a quality of life that creates a foundation attractive to new families and individuals. So the city's role in this highly competitive world is to set the table with its assets, infrastructure-supported development sites, an attractive quality of life, and economic incentives. Shovel-ready ground means when a developer is being courted, there are appropriate parcels of land available with water and sewer in the ground ready for immediate construction. That is the fundamental requirement, and nothing will happen without infrastructure in the ground. As I mentioned a few weeks ago in this very stage, I will commit to expanding our inventory of shovel-ready ground. Small parcels for startups and large parcels that will accommodate established industries and their future expansion. The city has a responsibility to develop these sites within the win-win framework of public-private partnerships. The quality of these sites is also a function of access to local, regional, and national transportation nodes. The city must facilitate ground transportation access through location of sites and road improvements. They must upgrade and improve to develop viable airport connections as appropriate, and utilize existing railroad lines and identify developable adjacent sites to stimulate railroad spur development. The city also has a responsibility to partner with private utilities to collaborate in securing affordable access of services and competitive rates. The city must work to offer quality accessible sites that are ready to be developed and offer affordable, appropriate utilities. Quality of life issues are also a primary responsibility of the city. The natural beauty of our lakes and parks, adequate housing at different levels of affordability, a diverse quality of retail opportunities, a thriving downtown heart of the city, diverse cultural and educational opportunities, and quality recreation. These are the assets that bring people to our community and keep them here. It is the city's responsibility to protect and develop these assets so they can appreciate and value. The economic incentives involve tax abatements, TIF revenue bonds, and land incentives to minimize startup costs and stimulate quicker growth. These tax phase-ins must be used for companies that create quality jobs with significant investment in real estate and equipment. If we can provide a site ready to develop with incentives to grow and a great place to live, we have set the table. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Oswald.
Yes, indeed. I spoke before about a film that I've dreamed of making with the local Warsaw High School media department and the local, whatever students want to be involved, whatever citizens want to be involved, to show not just Warsaw, Kosciuszko County, and all the wonderful things here, and put that together as a DVD. Then I believe also the mayor needs to be a really out there kind of guy. If you want to grow your city, you better be really out there. You better be willing to really stick your neck out and be accepted by a lot of different types of people. And you need to go to industrial seminars. You need to put yourself out there. You need to see exactly what kind of businesses are growing, what's the new thing that's out there. And then you have to give them some reason to want to come to your community. We have a great, we're called the Crossroads of America, Indiana. And Warsaw is the epitome of the crossroads of Indiana. It really is indeed. Chicago, you know, to our west, and then Fort Wayne and Ohio to our east. We're a really perfect location. Also, I've already been in touch with companies. I've been in touch with Casual XL, a men's store. The mayor has to see the needs of a city. He has to be able to look and say, what do we need? Well, I'm a big guy. I can't buy a shirt in Warsaw that's a dress shirt. I have to go to Fort Wayne. Why? Because the largest you can get is about 17.5 here. Well, we have a lot of big guys in Warsaw. We need a Casual XL. Companies say, really? The development department at Casual XL said, really? I said, yes. We have a perfect lot right in front of Kohl's. People are going to go out there, they're going to say, you know, let's go take a look, and they're going to say, honey, they don't have your size. Let's go to Casual XL. It's perfect. Also, the truck stop that I want to bring to Warsaw. Once again, we have 1 million trucks going by. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it sure seems like it when you're waiting for a light, doesn't it? They're fishing a barrel. And we have nowhere for them to pull over and eat and fuel up for the most part. McDonald's, the road is a mess. If you go into the west, the McDonald's on the east side of town by Aldi's, they've destroyed the road because we don't maintain, city no longer maintains that road. If you see the little wee sign before you get to Staples, and it's like you could put my pickup truck inside of some of those holes. That's really a responsible situation. And we talk about Big R. Well, according to the maps I see, it's not even on city land. But anyway, so we need to see, a mayor needs to see what we need, and he needs to go out there and get it. He also has to see what's going on. He has to be out there. He can't spend all his time in Warsaw. He's got to go out there. He's got to meet companies. So that's what I intend to do, is to bring them in, show them what we have. And my film will show them what we have for their wives and their kids. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Mr. Babcock.
This is my favorite question. Mayor, salesman, chief. I've traveled the state, selling Warsaw. I've been involved in politics all over the state. I've worked on campaigns. We've got a mayor in Marion, Indiana, who's been traveling the country to bring jobs here. So to answer the question, so important for us to go out and find things. It's not just in Kosciuszko County. I've traveled the state. Wayne Siebold, the mayor down in Marion, is a friend of mine. He's gone to Turkey. He's gone to China. He's gone with the governor. He's gone on many trips, bringing businesses here. That's one of my fine points, one of my best points. Ask my wife up there how many times I've gotten home at 11:30 at night. One of the neat things is, I didn't respond to this earlier, but I guess one of my opponents said I missed 25% of the meetings. This is going to be fun to answer right now. Because guess what? The governor appointed me to the Distress Unit Appeal Board. I had meetings in Indianapolis selling Warsaw. I was in a meeting with the Department of Local Government Finance, the people in charge of the budgets, the State Board of Accounts. We managed the finances for Gary, Indiana. We had a lot of meetings, and I'm proud of my time down there because I was told, be down there. You're selling Warsaw. I'm excited that you brought that up, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate that. It builds right into what I do. I sell Warsaw. I've got contacts. I went out. I toured a business here in town, Winona PVD. I left the meeting. I said, what can I do? After the meeting, I called the governor. I said, Governor, we need your help. After I called the governor, I called Senator Coates. These are people that are my friends. I work with these people. I travel the state. They trust me. This is my favorite question, Gary. Thank you.
What does Gary, Indiana and the Distress Unit Appeal Board have to do with economic development? I'm not sure I understand that. Can you enlighten me? And I still don't understand. I've got the dates of those meetings. I'd be interested to go back and see what you were doing on those dates, but you weren't at the council meetings, and that's all I was trying to point out when you mentioned you were a 24/7 mayoral candidate.
What's Gary, Indiana have to do with economic development? We learn from every community, Joe. We can't just look inside Warsaw, Indiana. I look at Gary, Indiana. I look at Muncie. I look at Marion. I look at Valparaiso. I got friends that are mayors all around the state. So yes, Gary, Indiana has a lot to do about economic development because I'm telling you, Joe, it's not just about here. It's the whole state. This is my favorite question. Thank you again.
It's actually the whole country, folks. It's the whole country,
Absolutely.
not just the state. I got friends all over the United States.
Any other rebuttal on that question? Okay, question number 4. I have a feeling this is going to be interesting. Was the purchase of the National City Bank building by the city a good idea? Why or why not? Mr. Tallmer, you're first.
You all right?
Well, I'm fine. I just
All
put
right.
my sword up just in case.
All right. All right, start the time now. I'm going to need every bit of that 3 minutes. Establishing the need for a new city hall has occurred over the past decade. The current 60-year-old Market Street location is in disrepair, has no potential for growth, large amounts of non-functional workspace, and inadequate meeting space. In fact, the city doesn't even own the parking lot. It must lease those spaces. In 2002, as a result of input from downtown merchants and citizens, the city partnered with Hyatt Palma to create a blueprint for downtown enhancement and revitalization. This downtown action agenda included a formalized recommendation for a new city hall in downtown, a highly visible location. At that point, the city made a commitment to stay downtown and began saving in anticipation of a future building project. As a new building option was being explored in 2010, the First National Bank property came available in a very depressed real estate market. An engineering study compared the acquisition versus a new building option and recommended that the First National Bank site was the most cost-effective option. It confirmed the structural integrity of the building and confirmed the space for the consolidation of 5 city departments in a building with 25 employees: the mayor, clerk treasurer, sewage collection, building and plan, and human resources. The purchase included the 30,000 square foot historical building, the adjacent 24-space parking lot, and the adjacent 3-unit commercial building to the west of the lot. Preliminary plans are to tear down the adjacent building and expand the parking to 50-space parking lot, which would create 25 additional downtown spots for shoppers and double as an event plaza for First Fridays and other events. I'm also proposing that the city raise the current city hall and utilize the parking as parking for residents of downtown second-floor apartments and condominiums. With an assessed value of over $2.2 million, the city negotiated a purchase price of $1.3 million, which was just under the $1 million assessed value. Preliminary estimates put the total renovated cost at about $136 a square foot, which is well below the rate of $200 a square to build a new commercial building. The city is not paying $5 million for the new bank building. With renovations, they will be paying a little over half of the mythical $5 million figure. The city purchased the building with cash from its reserves, so there was no debt, no interest, and no direct effect on the tax rate. It was a very conservative investment that the city will benefit from for the next 75 to 100 years. The renovation work will be paid for from tax increment financing revenues and will also not directly affect the tax rate. As mentioned earlier tonight in my opening statement, the City Council, Redevelopment Commission, Plan Commission, School Board reacted overwhelmingly in support of the project, as did other community patrons. They all understand the value
10 seconds.
of long-term renewing a landmark building that would consolidate 5 city departments, avoid an embarrassing lengthy vacancy in the most prominent downtown location, and give the city control of the largest parking lot in the downtown historic district. The city took advantage of the bottom of a down real estate market and purchased a major property at a very, very affordable price. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Walsall.
Well, you know, I don't think the purchase of the building was a horrible idea. From what I understand from the courthouse records, it's really difficult to see how long it's been owned, because most of them just like say 98, and they're pretty sketchy. But as far as I know, the family's owned it for a long, long time, and they wouldn't have lost a penny if they'd have sold it to us for 600 grand. I just would have, as a businessman, I would have offered them a lot less money, and there's not a lot of takers. I don't see anybody else out there wanting to buy that building at the moment. So basically, the way they teach you to do business in the Arab communities is you offer people a ridiculously low price, and then they come back with something a little higher, and you land on something that's going to work for both parties. So I would have offered them a lot less money. Now that we own it, okay, cool. So I would like to take it down, and I'd like to put a parking garage in, yeah, a multi-level parking garage, and I'd love to see the county be involved in that. I'd like to have free public parking. Then I would like to see, and you can tell I'm in the film business, I would love to see a theater back in downtown Warsaw. Too many people say to me, I don't like to go way out there. I'm sorry to the theater owners, but it's not centrally located. Warsaw, the reason the county seat is in Warsaw is because it's central to the county. So you put a theater, let's say a 2-screen theater with 500 seats on each theater in the very corner of Center and Buffalo Streets. The rest of it you use as a parking garage. You want to revitalize downtown Warsaw? That will do it. People will go to dinner, they'll go to a movie, they'll go to Kalani's. Patty's business will multiply by 10 times. There would still probably be a little room on Buffalo Street to put a few wee shops. People would stroll. First Fridays would go crazy. They would have a lot of parking. We don't need more park benches, really, because the courthouse lawn is a nice place to gather. What we need is a place to park. And we don't need to take it up. So no, it's not a bad idea that we bought it. It's a great idea. Now we own it. Wish we'd have paid a little less for it. But I would really like to see us do something that's really going to bring us into the future. And everybody I've spoken to about that idea says, wow, that's cool. I would love to have a theater downtown again. The lake was great, except where it became dilapidated, there was no parking. But people like the theater. Look at any city that's gone from dilapidated and no business. They put theaters and shops in downtown. Suddenly they have a new nightlife.
10 seconds.
Not City Hall, and it's not personal. This is not personal. It's about what my vision is, and that's what my vision is.
Mr. Babcock.
Thank you. Well, in your opening statement, Joe, you were talking about the purchase price of $1.3 million. I just took the time to print off from the Times Union the article in the paper. 11/16/2010. Warsaw City Council approves appropriating $1.4 million from the city's rainy day fund to pay for the possible acquisition of property for the new city hall. Jennifer Perry was here, Gary Gerard. I looked at it, it says December the 7th. Warsaw okays funding for new city hall amid opposition. After hearing opposition, the Warsaw City Council approved appropriating $1.4 million from the rainy day fund. That's December 7th. I don't know what the price is. Nobody knows. What's the secret? I've been asking these questions. What's the secret? The Redevelopment Commission minutes weren't on the website. I guess they're on today now because I started asking because, let me tell you a little secret on this. The building appraised, well, I just found this out because for $940,000, $980,000, who in their right mind would pay more for a building? Would you pay more for a car or your house? So here's what happened. Let's kind of set the record straight. There was such enthusiasm to buy this building in downtown Warsaw. Hey, maybe it's a great deal, we bought it now. I guess I've never seen a document. I'm a Warsaw City Councilman, represent the whole city. I'm not sure, Joe, why you have these documents and I don't. But anyway, so here's what happened. The building didn't appraise for enough, so what the City Redevelopment Commission did was they met that morning at noon and decided we're just going to expand the TIF district. There's a lot of people upset about this. So what happens is they expanded the TIF district at noon to the Redevelopment Commission. Guess what? The Redevelopment Commission doesn't have to adhere to the appraised price. They can pay for whatever they want. So nothing illegal. It was illegal, but it was kind of an end round around purchasing more for a building. So we've bought the building. Now we're talking about $3.7 million. I brought it up many times. I guess it's 1.3 or 1.8 now. I don't know. I haven't seen any documents. I asked the mayor. I guess he's told me it's 1.3 or 1.8. Joe, that night, I think you got the same document. Project cost estimates, Schedule C. Estimated cost to remodel new city hall, construction $3.5 million, $210,000 architecture fees.
10 seconds.
Check my website. We'll talk more in the rebuttal. Thank you.
Tony? Mr. Miller?
Boy, this is going to be good for me. I don't have a whole lot to say now. But I'm not going to say, I'm sure it's going to be said here in a little bit. And I might shock everybody. But I feel the purchase of the Nat City Bank building is a great, great opportunity, but only for the realtor that sold it. For Warsaw, I think it's the best way to coin one of my dad's phrases, and I know, Joe, you've heard this before. You can't make a rose out of a turd. Not today, not tomorrow, never. That kind of sums up my feeling of the price paid. We definitely do need to update our facility, without a doubt. I'm all for it. We don't need a Taj Mahal. We don't need a building that has a vault. We don't need a building that has a storm shelter, unless that's our criteria now. That was brought up at the last candidates forum that, gee whiz, this thing's built like a brick, you know what house. It's got a bomb shelter in it. Well, congratulations, we own a bomb shelter. My opinion, sell the building, listen to the public, learn that there are other convenient sites to lease. We do need that. We do need it updated. There's vacant buildings in the Kmart Plaza, the Big R Plaza. We need to learn not to take the first offer that comes along. I feel in today's economy, appraisals don't hold a lot of merit. A property is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, and we really overpaid. That's it for me, thanks.